Hey there, YouTube. Yardism here. Sitting out at the nature preserve today, hoping to enjoy a sunset unless something cataclysmic happens. We should be good. Buffing on my country gentleman with some old Joe Krantz. I like that name. I imagine him to be a country gentleman. Straw hat, overalls. Walks with a cane because he enjoys it, not because he has to. Or like my great-granddad, Pappy. Pappy could have been an old Joe Krantz, I think. I recorded about 8 minutes of this video about 20 minutes ago until my phone decided to restart 3 times. So I lost all that. But I'm back. It's like I never left, huh? You never knew it happened. I'm sitting out at the Don Edwards Nature Preserve. It's just north of San Jose, kind of in between Milpitas and Alviso and San Jose. It's right in that little area. It connects to the San Francisco Bay. It's the very southern tip of it. It sits right in the footprint of San Jose's airport. It's not the pilot's fault. I haven't been out here in a while. My back keeps me from doing much of anything. But I made it a point to come out here today because it was so nice. Maybe before the sun drops completely below the horizon, I'll turn the camera around and show you what I see. Just back behind me there, about a half a mile or so, there's a little floating dock that runs out into one of the sloughs. That's probably, as I was saying before my phone so rudely interrupted me again, sit out on that little dock. When the tide goes out, it is an absolute feeding ground for many, many species. Ducks, gulls, egrets, all kinds of stuff out there. And it's a real pleasure to sit out there. If you sit there long enough, the birds don't really notice you. You can take some really good shots. They come right up next to the dock because when the water goes out, the only thing that's left after a while is this tiny little stream that runs about 4 feet in front of the dock, winds its way out to the other sloughs and then out to the bay. It's a great place to sit. I didn't want to sit out there today because it's a little too far from the car once the sun goes down. If I didn't make it back to the car for some reason, I would just have to sit out here until sunrise. Nobody would find me. Thought I would sit out here and share a bowl with you for a few minutes. And watch the sun go down. Got my camera with me in case anything interesting happens to fly in front of it. I saw a great egret a moment ago, but he didn't come close enough. I had the great fortune to have an encounter with a great egret over there at the dock about 3 years ago probably. He came right up next to me for a good 20 minutes. I probably snapped off 100 shots of him. He caught a little fish about that long, 4 inches long, while he was sitting there. And I got 3 or 4 really good shots in quick succession of him stabbing that thing in the water and pulling it up and tossing it up in the air, catching it in his mouth. Those things have some incredible power in their neck muscles and their super sharp, super long beak. They have actually been known to kill people. People who were doing things they shouldn't have been doing, nonetheless, found the misfortune to have that bill shoved into their skull or whatever it was. I don't remember. A little pleasant offshoot. Anyway, the lesson here is don't try to mess with a great egret. Or a great blue heron, for that matter. Those things are about the same. Beautiful birds. Both of them are absolutely gorgeous. One of my favorites in that family is the snowy egret. And those things are, if you catch them in the right attitude, frame of mind, I don't know, catch them at the right time, they'll put on a show for you. They're little hams for the camera. They have these beautiful, beautiful, flowing, fine feathers on their heads, all over, but they really get agitated sometimes when those feathers pop up. And the light shines through them. Beautiful. Family out enjoying the day. I like coming out here during the week, because very few other people do. Not that I don't like people, but the birds don't like people. On the weekends, it can get really, really crowded out here. There goes Chuck Yeager again. Chuck actually lives right up the road, not too far from here. I pay him a visit, but probably end up in jail. He probably likes his privacy. I can respect that. Anyway, these sloughs, mud sloughs, salt flats, they used to mine salt. Not mine it, but dredge it up out of the bay and out of this area in general, and then let it evaporate in these salt marshes. And it was quite an industry back then. Just over that way, you can't see, but it's that way, trust me, is Alviso, which was a booming town in the late 1800s and early 1900s. They did a lot of canning. A lot of the stuff that was caught in the bay, what didn't go to San Francisco, Cannery Row, came to Alviso. And all of the sloughs and waterways around here is how they shipped it out and got it around the world, until they ran a train track through here. And then it really took off, because it was the only train track that came in this area. The town was just booming until probably the mid, I'm guessing, but I'm thinking it was in the 20s. Things changed and commerce grew quite a bit. San Francisco really started taking off, and after they recovered from the big quake. And Alviso just sort of drifted into history for the most part. There's probably less than 1,000 people living there now. It's a great little town. There's nothing there. There's a few restaurants, but quiet little place. And I mean, really beautiful scenery just right out the back door of most of those homes. It's like almost like a ghost town. There is actually a ghost town. If you follow the railroad tracks up towards Fremont, it runs through a little place called Drawbridge. Drawbridge was, if I remember the story right, it was a booming little town back in the late 1800s as well because of the drawbridge. The people that lived there pretty much ran commerce in the Bay Area because they had access and they owned the drawbridge, and if they didn't open it up, boats couldn't get through, trains, whatever came down through there had to wait. But times changed, everybody moved out, and Drawbridge isn't a ghost town now. You're not supposed to go out there. The only access is by walking down the train tracks. You have to walk about 3 miles. Amtrak and some of the local transit between here and San Francisco and Oakland, places like that. That's the only route up through there. And those trains, those Amtrak trains and Ace trains and things like that, they move about 70 miles per hour. There's no footpath or anything like that. So if you're caught on those tracks, you better have a plan. But a lot of people go out there nonetheless. Unfortunately, a lot of people go out there for the wrong reasons, and there's graffiti and stuff like that on some of the ruins. But, I've yet to make it out there, but one of these days I will, because there's some great photo opportunities out there. The sun's dropping lower and lower. It's not so hard to look at. I don't advise staring at the sun. You may wonder how I know that. No, just joking. Anyway, I was talking earlier before the phone ate my first video about all the bird species and things that you find out here. And I've made note of I think I'm around 120 different species that I've seen, and about 80% of that probably has been out here. The other 20% have been in various locations, mostly in my backyard. I had feeders up for a while. And, I've noted over 40 species in my backyard. I'm going to get those back up because my little friends enjoyed that. I did too. Squirrels, though, they make life miserable for bird feeders. They gotta eat too, though. We don't get, back when I lived back home, Alabama, some of you may recognize that I have a little bit of an accent and I don't sound like I'm from California. You have a very good ear. Grew up in Alabama, but we had gray squirrels. They lived primarily in the trees. They nest up in the trees. Out here, most of the squirrels that you see are black squirrels, ground squirrels. They like the easy pickings, and bird feeders are easy pickings for the ground squirrels. I put peanuts and stuff like that out for them. Squirrels and the jays like the peanuts too. Those birds have some serious personality. I think of all the different birds that I enjoy, jays and American crows, believe it or not, they're a nuisance to most people, but those birds, more than any other bird to me, have a personality that's curious about humans. They just seem like they know something. I don't know how to explain it, but shut up, my pipe would keep going. Anyway, I look forward to taking you guys with me to some of these areas and sharing nature. There's a few channels I watch that I really enjoy for that aspect. Pipes and Kayaks. He's got some great stuff. I told him I live vicariously through his travelings. There are several others that do that as well. I'm drawing a blank, but you all probably know them. Can you hear the birds? Well, I think I will turn this off. And, I might snap a few shots and see if I can figure out how to put them in the video, tag them on the end or the beginning or somewhere. If not, maybe I'll put them on Instagram, let you know how to see them there. That was a blackneck stilt, if you could hear that one. Alright, so I hope everybody has a great weekend, the rest of your weekend, what's left of it. Keep the fires burning. Take care of yourselves. Leave me a comment, places like this you like to go. If you're a nature lover, I'm sure most of you are, but if you bird watch, let me know the kinds of stuff you see in your area. I look forward to it. One of these days I'll do a walk around. Probably don't want to hear me huffing and puffing while I'm walking around. I'm just going to spin the camera around. It's probably going to blind the camera, but anyway, let's see here. That's not too bad. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you soon. I still haven't come up with a good tagline.